Zach with Channel 2, man. Great seeing you. Just love to hear how you found out and your initial thoughts when they said you get the ball game one of 162.
Yeah, they a skipper came and told me, and we obviously have a plethora of guys that are deserving of this. I think that's certainly makes it an honor for me. But I think if you ask anybody, we're all sort of focused on winning every game we play on each day, and how that will get us to where we want to be in October. So game one is equally as important as game 162, and I think that's kind of that's the point of view that's made us successful as an organization. So definitely cool honor for me, but the focus is certainly still towards the end of the season.
I'll jump back in if no one else is going. Just with the
All right.
significance of it, is it more family, more friends? You know you're going game one. Is that kind of increased demand on the side for you?
Um, since it's in Philadelphia, I don't think there's going to be a large following of people coming to watch there. But yeah, I mean, like somebody pointed out to me today that some of the players I grew up rooting for and following, they were opening day starters and just kind of um, kind of benefit from the same honor that they did is a very neat experience for me and it's certainly not, like I said, it's not lost on me that there are other players, other pitchers on our staff that are deserving of this as well.
Who
Hey,
were those?
Spencer.
Just
Oh,
who are
sorry.
those guys? Just real quick, Grant. Who are those guys that you kind of grew up watching? Like, man, it's cool to see Maddox or Glavine or Smoltz take the ball game one.
For me, growing up a Cleveland fan, it was Corey Kluber, was the big one. I think he still holds the record for most consecutive opening day starts for Cleveland. So, just it always seems like the prominent figure on the rotation is getting that opening day start, and I certainly don't consider myself the prominent figure. Like I said, that's what's unique about our situation is we have several guys that are all number ones and all deserving of an opening day start. Just so happens that it's lined up where it's going to be me.
Hey, Spencer. I know that obviously the focus is winning every game, as you just said. Being that this season is kind of picking up where the last couple have ended, is there anything that kind of amps up that intensity, or is that kind of just a secondary background noise?
No, I don't think so. I think if somehow beating the Phillies on game one of the season could atone for losing to them in the DS, then that would be true. But as we all know, that doesn't work that way. So every game is important. You play 162 games, you learn how that's true. The more that there are, it doesn't diminish the value of each one. Every game, and I think that's something we learned in 22 is it came down to the wire. We were sort of chasing the Mets all season, and then a couple of games throughout the regular season go a different way, and that series isn't as meaningful. So, to be in that position required us to treat every day throughout the course of the season as the most important day at that moment. And I think that we have an emphasis this year trying to have that perspective, but also sort of learn along the way. Make sure we're getting better. Make sure that our long-term goal is being the best we can in October.
This spring seems to have been a nice springboard for you to get ready to maybe incorporate, new weapons in your arsenal. How are you feeling about all of that, and how excited are you to just kind of see what 2024 has in store with all of the work that you've done to get here?
Yeah, I definitely think that we made a lot of adjustments in terms of how I've gone about the spring, and based upon last year and things we learned through that process, and all with the intent in mind to be the most prepared as we can be when the regular season starts. And um, yeah, I'm very confident with where we are, and still a lot of work to be done and a lot of things to learn, and that process is going to play out over the regular season.
Hi, Spencer. Hey, it's Paul Newberry from Associated Press. Can you talk a little more about what it's meant, why bring in a new pitch to your arsenal as it was mentioned, and why you did that, and what you think that adds to what you did? I mean, obviously you had a tremendous year last year, and here you are kind of, trying to maybe take it a step further. Can you just talk about that process and how comfortable you feel and how much you think it might help you this year?
Yeah, I think that and sort of analyzing the way the season ended last year and the season as a whole. Um, the sort of outcome was that we were not, and myself in particular, was not as good as we needed to be to complete our ultimate goal of winning the World Series. So you start addressing that by improving where you can. One of the ways that I could improve was to try to adopt this curveball. It's a pitch that kind of fits my arsenal well, and it's something that I've used before. So picking it up wasn't that difficult necessarily. Um, and I think that that's kind of the perspective that I had on it was how can I get better? Um, in my talent as a baseball player, I think that there was a lot of emphasis on the focus and the preparation for the postseason, and in particular last year, and the outcome obviously was not what we desired. So you're left to improve your talent overall, I think, at that point.
How much more dominant do you think? I don't know if dominant's the word you want to use, but how much more effective do you think it will make you having that and one more pitch in your arsenal, with an arsenal that was already pretty stout?
I don't know that was necessarily my justification behind it or my thought process. I think if anything, it was just adding a tool to my toolbox in a way. If I was able to, I would go out and learn every pitch that's ever been conceived of, and have that at my disposal. But I can't do that. So, like I said, this is something that sort of fit my strengths and my capabilities. So it made sense to try to incorporate it. I may never throw one after spring training ever again. If it were up to me, I would throw 100% fastballs right down the middle, and in an ideal world. But obviously, I can't do that and be successful most of the time. So I think, like I said, I just wanted to improve my capabilities overall, and this was a feasible way of doing that.
If your stats carry over to the regular season, no runs and about 1,000 strikeouts, so that'd be pretty productive. But how much of this, our new arsenal, you want to call it, is what the proof's in the pudding? How much stock do you put into spring training carrying over, or is it just you getting that 1% better for when it's go time?
Yeah, I don't. If spring training outcomes carried over into the regular season, then we'd have a lot of issues going into spring training. And a lot of misplaced confidence. And I think that's part of the learning process in spring training is understanding what to value. And that's true of every sample size, whether it's one regular season game or a spring training or a month, a career, whatever it is. So, the things you can control are what will influence the outcomes. And so I think that's where your focus needs to be. And that's where mine has been. That looks like solidifying my strengths early, making sure I'm in the best physical shape I can be, trying to improve my preparation from a routine standpoint, specifically, as the spring goes on, and then learn the most I can from outing to outing. Try to limit the number of things that we're still trying to improve or tighten down as the regular season starts.
I know the focus of this call obviously is talking about the present, opening day, and everything ahead of you in 2024. But I've always kind of been curious. You came onto the scene late in the 2021 campaign, so clearly you experienced winning it all with this club. How much does that feeling and that initial, I guess, taste of the major leagues kind of drive you as you go through? And I mean, there was all that talk about, and still is, and the expectations that you guys have for one another. How much have you reflected on that? And I guess where in the process or the motivation does that all fall?
Yeah, I mean, in 21, I started this season, my first full season, really my first pro season. Was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues at the end of the year for a couple of days, but wasn't really a part of that team. I certainly don't want to take credit for anything that happened or act like I experienced what they accomplished. But yeah, I think that sets a standard for sure. That you're a part of a world championship organization, and that's certainly the language that's used around here. And I think that it's important to hold ourselves to that standard, and the way we prepare and the way that we set our goals on a daily basis. And I think that the spring, from a collective standpoint, has been really good for that.
A few more for Spencer.
You've always been a guy.
Well,
Just real quick, just you said about the other guys in the rotation, could have easily started. So what would you always like to hear from Max and Chris and Charlie about the honor of going game one? I'm sure they came up to give you a high five or something.
Yeah, nothing too ceremonious about it, but like I said, and that's kind of how I view it as well. I think that we all know that what happens on opening day will be forgotten pretty quickly if we are where we want to be in 6 months from now. So this is the beginning of a slow march to a goal that we have had our eyes on all spring.
One more for me, Spencer. How much are you've mentioned several times about how last season ended, despite the great year you had, not happy about the way it ended. Just how much are you kind of driven by that to, seems like everything now is sort of the focus. If that, if it's not good at the end of the year, obviously you don't consider it a successful season. How much are you just kind of motivated by what happened at the end of last year?
Well, I think that my job as a pitcher is to help win games, win championships. So um, if we can win every regular season game and then go 0-3 in the DS or 0-2 in a wild card series, and there's nobody's giving you a trophy for winning 162 games. So that's kind of the perspective I have. I think that because this is a team sport, my job is to contribute to the collective goal of winning a team trophy, and that's the World Series. And like I said, I think that my focus from a personal standpoint was what it needed to be in the postseason, and my performance was not sufficient to obtain that goal, that outcome that we desired. And my response has been that I need to do what I can to try to improve my ability to help the team this offseason in the spring, and that's where my focus will be every day in the regular season as well. And I like our chances getting to October this year, and hopefully writing a different story.
Appreciate you doing
Joe,
this. Thank you.
Joe Lamar, I have one out of Savannah. Has there been any player that you've seen in spring training that you're really excited to see what they do in 2024 based on what you saw them do this spring?
I mean, there's been a lot. I think that guys, knowing who's on the team, I think that Forrest Wall, I think just the preparation that he's had and the focus every day, his work ethic is tremendous, and um, he's worked hard to get to this point in his career, and the talents are obviously they're obvious, and the tools are obvious. So I'm super excited for his opportunity, and I know that the preparation and the work ethic, like I said, are going to be there every day, regardless of what his playing time looks like. And I think that he's a guy that's very capable of stepping into an everyday role and if need be, and helping us win.